this video, we're going to be going through date triggers. To set up a date trigger, you need to access the trigger module. Inside the section for trigger module, there are two types of triggers that you will see: My Triggers and All Triggers. My Triggers would be any triggers you've set up yourself, whereas All Triggers would be what all users have created, including yourself. To set up a date trigger, you can simply click this button here. By clicking into here, it will redirect you into a new page. The first thing you want to do is to give the trigger a name. For this, I will place in birthday, as I want this trigger to be sent based on a person's date of birth. The start date and end date by default is automated to the time you clicked into the new date trigger button, whereas the end date is a year in advance. In this section, you'll be able to state how long this trigger will last for. Underneath here, we have our conditions. The first thing you want to look at is the email groups/group you want to send to. There are two options. One option is to send to all mail groups in the mail house. This ensures that any subscriber receives a birthday message regardless of their mailing list, whereas all mail groups below allows you to actually send to a specific mail group or mail groups, as you can see here. If I click into Add Mail Group, your mailing list will appear. You can search for specific mailing lists and select who the recipients will be for these triggers. The next step will be to choose the action. You can select a date field here, which will send an email to subscribers whose contact details fall on a certain date. Alternatively, unopened would generally be any documents you intend to send out if the email is unopened. If they haven't opened it after a specified time, you can send a triggered follow-up. Note that the date fields must be created via the mailhouse under Custom Fields. I've got date of birth created here. I'll select that, and this ensures subscribers will receive a birthday email when that day comes. You can also add a condition where only a specific group of people will receive the email and exclude those who don't fall under a certain category. For example, if you want to restrict this to just a list of people from the company Swift Digital only, I can specify it here. Scrolling down, you have the option of how you would like to publish your emails. If you want to publish on the day of a subscriber's birthday, you'll want to populate this field with 0, meaning that it's going to publish on that exact date. Another example could be to issue an expired license warning 3 days prior to the expiry date. You can select the time that you want to publish that as well under this section here. There's options for date fields starting with yearly, which indicate that this trigger runs all year round up until the trigger is no longer active. If you're running monthly newsletters or alerts, you can select monthly. There is also weekly as well as once only, which is a one-off send. For unopened, it's set to once only at all times, as you will only be able to follow an email campaign once based on an unopened response. Moving along, users will be able to select the document that will go out when the trigger has been initiated. If I click here, it's going to allow me to select a specific document that corresponds with my trigger conditions. I'm just going to select any document for now. Clicking Confirm, I've selected the document my recipients will receive when the trigger has been initiated. The last step is to fill out your publishing details. You've got sender's name, which I will populate with Swift Digital, and in place of sender's email, I will populate that with support@swiftdigital.com.au. I will also put this as the reply to email. The subject line can be birthday. Once I've done that, I will click Save. And once saved, I'll be able to locate the trigger under my trigger list. The green tick that resides on the right indicates to the user that the trigger is currently active.